Hello, welcome back to the channel, man. My name is Shimo Kalai. Today we're doing something different, cause of the movie Obsession and the whole drama surrounding Alex. You defending a rape? You attempted to defend a rape? Why? Why would you do that? I don't know. Why would you wanna die on that hill? Like, that is not a hill you would like to die on, my boy. Why are we doing this? But at the same time, I don't think I want to go as hard as many of you guys are going. You know, I want to highlight specific point that I think Alex just missed. I think that's why he thought he could somehow defend Bear. But your friend is dead and he's a rapist. Like, how are you even defending that? You know? Like, I get it, but I don't. I get it. The reason why I'm saying I get it because of the start of the film. You know? But if you have watched the whole thing, because you watched the whole thing, and you still felt the need to defend him? Why? Why did you do that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? There is no need for you to be doing that. Why? Why? Where the fuck? What is happening? I think a lot of criticism of Alex Meyers' Obsession video comes from the feeling that he misses the central question that Carrie is asking through Bear's character. The predatory side of people like Bear isn't obvious. That's the point. Predators rarely introduce themselves as a villain. They know what is socially acceptable. They can be charming, and they can often present themselves as nice, which is what Bear is. Like, right until he takes Nikki home, you see him as a nice guy, and I think Carrie did that so that you think, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. You know, he's shy, he's always wearing those sweaters that even Alex mentioned, by the way. He's like, okay, he's a cute, nice guy. Bear understands right from wrong. The problem is that he seems to only be willing to do the right thing when it costs him nothing or when he's already facing consequences. That's the moral test Curry builds into the film. Are you willing to do the right thing when the situation benefits you? Or do you only act once it backfires? I think that's the biggest question Curry is asking. Bear had hope that he can end the wish, but what does he do? He alters the wish, dog. He alters the damn wish. The boy thinks about himself first. He just thought about himself. He was like, damn, how can I have Nikki but like avoid the crazy shit that's happening? He didn't think, damn, Nikki is hurting. Let me end this thing. That is the point. That is the point of the movie that Curry keeps asking and asking over and over again. He asks Bear this question, and then through Bear, he's asking us, the audience. Which is why people like Alex are lost in the sauce, because they're failing to grasp what Curry is asking them. Or they just simply, this is what they think. This is how they rationalize the film. And by the way, at that time, Nikki is going through it. Look at the ending. Bear doesn't immediately choose to end the wish. No. Even though it is destroying Nikki. Instead, he spends the most of the movie trying to find a version where he gets what he wants without paying the price. He only commits to ending it when Nikki essentially is gone and there are no good outcome left. That's why Bear is written as nice. Curry blurs the lines. If Bear were an obvious monster from the beginning like a comic book villain, the audience's moral decision would be effortless, right? Would reject him immediately, but that's not how harmful people often operate in life. Like in real life, that's not how they do things. The most dangerous people aren't always openly cruel. They blend in, they manipulate, they justify their actions. They can spend years appearing decent until an opportunity reveals who they really are. Bear reflects that uncomfortable reality. I think Alex gives Bear a lot of credit for doing what many people would consider the bare minimum, which is actually the bare minimum. For example, he praises him for not sleeping with Nikki while she's under the influence, or at least so he thought Nikki was under the influence. But we all know that Nikki was under the influence of the spell, the wish thing, right? It's like, why would you give him credits for that? One, he's the reason why this is happening. She's acting the way she's acting. But then two, let's say and go with it that she was under. Why would you praise him for that?
Up until this point, Bear was just a dude with a crush on a girl that he was too scared to talk to. Okay, a story of my life. And to Bear's credit, he's not immediately jumping at the chance to take advantage of her or whatever. Like, he gives her privacy and space. He doesn't want to make it weird. He turns around when she takes her shirt off. I expected Bear to be this, like, horribly angry, misogynistic incel dude, right? But, like, up until this point, he's just some super socially awkward loser who has a crush on a girl, and he uses a $7 wishing toy that he assumes is not going to work. And then when Nikki starts acting like this, he's very confused and put off.
And his point that he's making there is, see, he's not a bad guy. If he was a bad guy, he would have done that. No, that's not the point. That's not the point. And it is the point because of how you're reasoning. You understand what I'm saying? Because now you're revealing yourself that the bare minimum to you is a big deal. But it's not. That means, are you actually a really decent human being? For if you're gonna pat yourself in the back and be like, look, I didn't sleep with her when she was wasted out of her mind. I understand what he's trying to do. What he's trying to do is he's trying to reason with a grey character. But he's not that grey. Bear is not that grey. He's definitely black. Well, it sounds racist as hell. But he is definitely black. That's not an act worthy of praise. It's simply what anyone should do. It's simple as that. And to be fair to Alex, I don't think he was arguing that Bear is a great person. I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to point out that Bear isn't a one-dimensional villain, I guess. Which, yeah, just like Thanos. There were people who were defending Thanos, but he's a horrible guy still. I think Curry intentionally avoids making Bear cartoonishly evil because that would weaken the film's central question. The ambiguity is the point. That's why the movie is very ambiguous. That's the point. But the film is also just not ambiguous. It's ambiguous up until the point. By the way, Curry avoids making Bear an obvious villain, even though if you watch the whole movie, he's an obvious villain. It's easy to see, But he avoids making him like a villain, not because he sympathizes with him. No, that's not why he's not an obvious villain from start to the end kind of thing. No, it's because he wants to test the audience, people like you, Alex, people like you. Just to see how you think and how you see things, to test your mind and your morals and see where you at, because this is a bigger discussion. I'm not one of those people who say like, cancel Alex, do this, do that. No, you know what I mean? Like, you can have a different opinion, even though your opinion is fucking weird. You are allowed to have an opinion and you're allowed to voice that opinion so that we can correct you. So that you can learn from this, so that maybe you can see something from a different angle and be like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? That's why the movie is genius. That's why we keep saying the movie is great. It's because now it lives longer than the actual movie. It lives in your mind, in your brain. There are things that you might have to wrestle with. If you're Alex, clearly you have some things to wrestle with. Some demons you need to figure out somewhere, somehow there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think we should go out and say Alex should die. He should go to jail. He should no, don't be weird. Don't be weird. No. Part of the message of the movie is don't be fucking weird and don't be evil. Don't be that person. And the biggest one is you have to do the right thing. You just have to. Not because it benefits you, but because you just have to do it. It's your responsibility to do the right thing. So if we're saying this person shouldn't have a livelihood now because we hate his take and his take is potentially, not even potentially, super problematic, it's like, what are we doing here? This should be a lesson learned for him. you know, not to voice out his opinions. No, but think, introspect more than anything. Use this opportunity to introspect as a man. I don't know if you have kids or not. If you have kids, it's even worse. Introspect even more. Introspect, my guy. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, man. Yeah, I had to touch on this because this is just bonkers. It really is just a weird video. I saw that he's deleted the video. Yeah, I don't think you should have done that. Just let the video live. You are wrong. Don't try and erase your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. That's the whole point, you know? All right, I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace. Crazy, weird ass shit, man.